What's going on? It's been a little minute now. We back with the play-by-play. It's been a long time since we've covered our sports here on the Purple Pants podcast, and I'm so happy to have the baby boy who just spent another year around the sun. You may recognize him from the Circle Season 2, Jack Atkins, who is now 24. Jack Atkins.
Yeah. Just celebrated a birthday. And no better present than the present on the Purple Pants play-by-play. So I'm excited to talk about some sports with you.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many things that we could talk about, but there's like so many things I've been dying to talk about. And so I was like, I got to get the baby boy on. But before we get into all of that, how was your birthday, 24?
It was super fun. I was able to host a little shindig at my spot on Saturday night, which was the day of my birthday. I had some friends over and celebrated. It was a good time. I felt very grateful, very loved. And but the day before that, I spent 24 hours in Vegas, impromptu, for something an opportunity that came up, and I was able to make some decent money during my time there. So that was a nice little birthday gift to myself. But yeah, it was been a really wild weekend that I just had, but very excited. It was all good.
Because I know you, Jack, and I just have some follow-up questions about this shindig that you threw at your party. Like, so can I ask, what was the preparation for the party? Like, did you have any snacks?
I didn't have any snacks because it was a little bit later in the evening. You know, it was like although I think some people brought their own snacks because when I was cleaning up, I found like a bag of chips, like a box of M&Ms. So.
Okay, so we ain't have no food. Okay.
We did have drinks.
Okay, so what supplies did you bring for your party?
So I got a nice little tablecloth to make sure that the table would remain undamaged.
Plastic or cloth?
I got a lot of cups, some solo cups. I had some liquor left over, like unopened, like bottles of vodka, stuff like that. And I went and got a couple bottles of tequila, some White Claws.
Okay.
A couple beers.
Okay.
A couple cases of beer. And then some mixers. You know, we were talking lemonade.
Okay.
Orange juice.
Okay.
Sparkling water.
Okay.
And I mean, everyone. I don't know about the East Coast, but everyone in LA said it was the party of the year. So.
Oh, okay. Now, was the tablecloth plastic or cloth?
It was plastic.
Okay. Was it white or black? I see you getting a black one.
It was gold.
Oh, okay. And so again, no snacks because you said it was later in the day, so people should have come with their bellies full.
Yeah, I'm the only snack they need.
Okay, all right. You don't just have to check in because it sounds about that's the preparation that I sounds about.
The party didn't start until about like 9:30, so I would hope people you had dinner, catered.
Okay. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with a little charcuterie board or a chip or a sandwich table. But okay.
We had some budget cuts this year.
Now, did you like snack on anything at your party?
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of espresso martinis.
Okay. Wait, so you can make espresso martinis?
Yeah, I didn't have enough ingredients to make a lot, but I made a few at the start and dished them out.
And
just to set the tempo?
What's the ingredients of an espresso martini?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So we have an espresso machine. So you want to take a shot of espresso.
Okay.
However much it's usually made with vodka. I like mine with tequila. So you use tequila, and then I kind of just eyeball things, and because I'm fine with it. And then you go with like coffee liqueur. So I use Kahlua. And then I put that in a shaker with some ice. You shake it. You got to shake it extra long because the key to a good espresso martini is if you shake it extra long, it'll get frothy. It'll get like nice and frothy, and you get like a nice like layer of like cream at the top. Whereas if you don't shake it that much, it's just going to be kind of like the consistency of like cold brew.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with a cold brew though.
When it's like nice, it's like a milkshake when you get it.
Okay. You got me there. Now, did you did you have ice, or you had ice in the refrigerator?
Ice in the freezer.
I mean the freezer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you have one ice tray, or how many ice trays do you have?
No, our freezer like makes it like just makes
Oh.
it and stores it at the top. So you gotta reach in and grab a couple cubes.
Okay. All right. Well, I just had to ask a couple of questions. Just want to see
I love it.
the layout of the land. But yeah, we've got some scoreboard items to get to. And I think the first on my list, I really just want to talk about the expansion of the WNBA. I think for a long time, I think the most, in my opinion, the most newsworthy things that the WNBA has been known for recently is like Brittany Garner, right? Not really about the actual game itself. And I think when we talk about Brittany Garner, I think we all know she was in jail in Russia because she has to play overseas. And then it kind of like even lends into the larger issue of the WNBA of like the pay gap between the NBA and the WNBA. The reason why Brittany was even in Russia is because she plays overseas to make more money. And so I think that with this new rookie year, there has been such an insurgent of WNBA coverage that is, in my sense, like remarkable. Like I really do feel like in the history books, when we are older and we are telling the folk tales of our times, we're literally living in like the revitalization of the WNBA. And I have to say, I absolutely love it for a multitude of reasons, but curious to know your thoughts on that like blanket statement.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I've definitely been part of that. I feel like I never used to really follow the WNBA at all. And now I see a lot more highlights. I follow more players in the WNBA, hugely contributed to by like this rookie class this year. And it's been fun. Like there's some good hoopers and there's also some really fun personalities to follow on like social media. So it's nice to see, I feel like you said in the past, that the WNBA did not really receive that much attention. And the pay was always like a highly debated thing. But now it seems like they're doing a lot better with it. And so the players should hopefully start to earn more. And it's just providing more sports entertainment for people around the world. So
absolutely. There's more things that I love about the fact that there are more eyes on the WNBA. One, the drama. Like the drama that is in the WNBA is, I mean, there needs to be a reality show on it. And so now, mind you, y'all know I'm not good with names and stuff. So really, I'm just going to give you situational stuff. But because it is the WNBA, and I feel like there are a lot of players that date the same sex. And so a lot of the WNBA players have dating, in relationships and at relationships. And like a lot of it plays out on the basketball court. There's, I can remember like 2 weeks ago, there are two teammates, right? Boom and boom. Now, mind you, forgive me for the names, but if you listen to the story, I'm sure you've heard about it if you're on the realm of it. So there are two teammates. They're playing another team. Teammate A used to date somebody on another team. And teammate A and the person that they used to date on the other team, they was kind of like squabbling a little bit, like, playing a little like defensively. And then another teammate on the other team kind of like checked the ex. And the ex kind of checked back, and the teammate was getting ready to go check the ex-girlfriend, but the ex-girlfriend on the team said to her teammate, like, hey, not this one right here. Let that one slide. Like, it's just so much of like this drama that I love. Another thing that I love about the WNBA, just like in the NBA with the tunnel, we get to see the NBA players fashion, right? And a lot of the times it's like, they're wearing high fashion clothes, the NBA players, but they 7'3". It don't look the same on them. And a lot of them just like look weird. Like, you'll see Ben Simmons and like, never LaMelo Ball, because LaMelo Ball always come dripping. But it's just always so interesting to see the NBA players in these like drips that's just like, huh. But when I tell you the WNBA, the ladies drips, like for me, I love how some of them give streetwear, some of them give little like, chill stuff. But then you'll get people like Angel Reese pulling up in a mini skirt and heels and can barely walk in the heels. And like, I love just the whole culture of it. And I think for me, also shout out Pride Month. As a gay man, right? I love to see the ladies. Like, of course, basketball is cool, and like I love the guys, but like I love to see the ladies twist on it. And so that for me has been another source of great like inspiration, where it's like after games I'll go on TikTok and I'll see the photos of the ladies walking down the tunnel and just seeing their like fashions, and I just loved it.
Yeah, the fashion's been great. And that's the thing too, like I said earlier, with especially with like the rookies, there's so many fun personalities. Also, a lot of rookies are just like beautiful people, and so when they're stepping out with some good fashion, it adds like another dimension to the game of like you get to enjoy the game and the basketball that's being played. But there's this like I feel like the culture outside of it is kind of raising up, and it's more like you have the game, but you also have this like fun element of like there's some like good fashion going down, and yeah, there's more personality, and like you said, there's more drama, which I think is really important to making a league of any kind be really entertaining. So.
And for me, I think sometimes the women basketball players get boxed into this stereotype of like tomboy, right? Like, or very like masculine presenting. And I don't ever love that. And that's why I love sometimes like you'll see some of these players that, might be more masculine presenting when they're on the court, but then you see them hop out in a mini skirt with like a 22-inch bust down and lashes. Like, I just love the modernization of the league. I also think with this rookie class comes we're seeing the expansion specifically for the Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese games. Their franchises are now looking to book bigger arenas. It's also crazy to think that like the WNBA was playing at 4,000 that can hold 4,000 people arenas, and you look at the NBA that they can hold like 30,000, 44,000. And so it's a very small crawl, but I'm loving to see the evolution and them going from 4,000 seats to 22,000. Like, again, I'm all for equal rights. I'm all for equality. And I just love to see that like people are like actually into it. The games are selling out. The celebrities are showing up. It's just, for me, I'm here for it.
Definitely.
I think another thing that is interesting, well, two things, right? Because I want to talk about it, right? A lot of the credit to this expansion of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. That's all we hear. We hear Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark. Now, granted, I love me some Caitlin Clark, right? Now, her brother and her boyfriend on Twitter, the tweets that they was liking on Twitter, like, we could talk about that later. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
So, I mean, first of all, like, they're always trying to pin women against each other. And so obviously there's always this huge rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And it was like found out that Caitlin's boyfriend and her brother were liking tweets that were like essentially like derogatory towards Angel Reese. But we could get there. But for me, like I think Caitlin is an amazing player. People love her. She's by far one of the greatest women players that we've seen in a very long time. But it like kind of just annoys me a little bit. And I mean, we can get into it, we can not get into it. But like this year, Caitlin's team in the, what do you call it? Like the March Madness.
Yeah.
Their team lost. And Dawn
Staley, I think.
Yes. Who is a former WNBA player and has coached multiple teams to win in this March Madness, right? Like it seemed like the headlines were overshadowed by Caitlin Clark loses or Caitlin Clark played phenomenal. And it's just like I'm seeing this trend kind of bleed over into the WNBA. And yes, Caitlin is bringing a lot of more eyes, but also Caitlin is not the only person in this rookie class. We've got Angel Reese, and we have all of the other amazing players in the WNBA that have been working at this for years. And so I hate the fact that, and again, I want to hear your opinion on this, right? Like, I just hate the fact that it seems like all the credit just goes to this. And I mean, I'm gonna say it, like this white woman, and I love her and I respect it, but I just think like it's so easy for this narrative to kind of like sell it to a Caitlyn, then to a Angel Reese, to a Brittany. And don't get me wrong, I'm not dismissing Caitlyn's talent because she is phenomenal, but like, it's not just Caitlyn. Like, the WNBA has been here. These women have been asking for these things. And so like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. And I like that Caitlyn is getting her just dues, but I also feel like, well, like, let's pay homage to people that have come before you and this whole rookie class, not just Caitlyn. Your thoughts?
Oh, it's a tough question because I do think Caitlyn is responsible for a lot of the attention that's been brought to women's basketball. But all your points are very valid of like, there's other players that deserve credit, but at the same time, as far as like, and like as far as media goes, whether it's right or wrong in a way, like people like I guess a lot of the attention she gets is like social media and like press, right? And they're gonna like, so they have money at stake. They're gonna focus on the things that are getting the most attention. And if Caitlyn's only getting the most attention, it's hard to blame. I agree with you that it would be great to shift and make sure there's attention being put like cast on other, players, especially a lot of the outstanding rookies. But I wonder, maybe this could be like an essential step in a way where right now they're not getting the attention they deserve, but through, I guess, the lens of the Caitlin Clark focus, it's going to bring more attention to women's basketball overall, and that's going to trickle down and bring more attention to players in the present, but also going forward, people are going to pay more attention to next year's rookies and beyond that. And it's definitely, the Caitlin Clark thing's a little bit oversaturated for sure. I definitely love me some Caitlin Clark, but
yeah, so do I.
I got some other rookies that I'm fans of. So
I do also just want to say, right, like, because I just want to be clear, my issue is not with Caitlin Clark, just so I'm clear, because I think that, and why I respect and like Caitlin like tremendously is not even just for her talent. There was, I think she like won an award and she acknowledged her privilege as a white woman and was like to her black teammates that like don't get acknowledged and like, so she understands it, right? Like, and that's why I love Caitlin.
Class act for sure.
Right, very class act. And I also love Caitlin because she a beast and nasty on that. Like, there's so like, I love it. Now, here's the topic I want to talk to you about specifically with Caitlin Clark and the Olympics, right? Like, we have our Summer Olympics coming up, and there is a huge push that people are saying they want Caitlin in the Olympics. They want Caitlin in the Olympics. And it's like a huge outcry. Now, at first, I was one of the people that's like, Caitlin, get her on there. Then I watched First Take with what's his name? Shannon Sharp, and they had these two women, I think they were former WNBA players, and they were really actually like breaking the situation down. And when I heard all of the information, I was just like, yeah, Caitlin Clark can sit this one out. And essentially, like, the Olympics team.
What was the breakdown?
So essentially, and I forget these people's names, forgive me. But essentially, for the Olympics, what these two ladies were saying was that for the Olympics team, right, you have 7 practices, right, up into the Olympics. All of the people that are being considered have made these practices, and the practices have been from like 2003 till now. They're like in April, March, all of these practices. And so all of the women that have made the practices or that are being considered have played together in these practices or on the teams. And so, like, to then just put Caitlin in the mix, who hasn't, because she's still in playing in college and not in the league, like to then put her in this mix that she hasn't played with any of these people, like it's not fair to the process. Now, of course, Caitlin is an amazing player and probably could jump right on in, but it's a process. And like Caitlin probably has 4 to 5 Olympics that she will play in. And like I understand, like they understand the outcry of the public and how much attention it would even give the Olympics even more if Caitlin Clark were there. But it's like it's not fair to the process. And like I was saying earlier, to the women that have been there before. And like then they were saying, who are they going to replace Caitlin with? With the people that they've already picked for the team. So it just was an interesting subject. And again, I think that I personally would love to see Caitlin out there, but also it's like knowing that there's a process and you gotta follow how things go. I'm like, yeah, let's follow how things go. Let's not just be making these exceptions for these players. But then I was having this conversation with someone and they're like, it's similar to LeBron or somebody, but I don't know. What's your take?
I see like sort of the logic that you're relaying that was discussed, but ultimately, I do think it's a big mistake, right? You're trying to grow the sport of women's basketball, and Caitlin Clark is the biggest thing that's brought the most attention ever to women's basketball. I get that there's like a little bit of process and all that, but if you want to bring more attention, you got to put Caitlin Clark on the roster, and like however that affects the team, so be it. But it's obviously going to draw a lot more eyes to the women playing at the Olympics. And I think that would be good for the sport in the long run. So, I'm no expert, but I think it's a little bit silly and
silly that like she wasn't able to make any of the practices.
So obviously I'm no expert on how the practices work, but I'd be under the impression I feel like that what you're talking about is probably maybe they do like an annual or a semi-annual practice to kind of build some camaraderie. But I think that now that they've selected the squad, there's going to be more practices like much closer together to prepare. Like they'll probably do like 2 to 3 weeks of practice for the Olympics. And that's when the squad really comes together. And obviously whoever is selected, if Caitlin was there, she would be at those practices. But to your point, I get why that sort of element and component to it is why partly that she's not on the squad. But at the end of the day, like for the greater good of women's basketball in the long run, I do personally think that you would want her on the team, but not my call. But that's not
right. And so it's kind of split, and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. Initially, I was like, put the beast on the team, but again, I just also feel like there are procedures and regulations, but someone else was saying like, when you have a rare person like a Caitlin, like I think that you kind of
make exceptions.
But again, for me, I don't know. I'm just on the fence for making the exceptions because I just feel like, are we making the exception? I don't know. I just feel like it's a perfect storm. We're making the exception for all of these reasons, but there's just one reason that continuously kind of like comes to my mind that I don't know. But also focusing on somebody else, because I love me some Caitlin Clark, but I love me some Angel Reese. That's my girl. And it's being reported that she is off to a great start on her rookie year, and she is the only WNBA rookie to average a double-double this season. Now, Jack, what's a double-double?
That's just when you have double-digit averages in certain stats. So Angel Reese is averaging double-digit points and double-digit rebounds. So over 10 and 10 again. Also, I don't know if you see on her jersey at the bottom, I don't know what school she's representing now, but it looks like a familiar spot.
We know that. Okay, you Chicago. But as of maybe a couple of days ago, she was averaging 12 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and 120 rebounds in 12 games. And so I love my girl Angel Reese. And you know, I'm rocking with the home team. That's my girl. I've been following her since we used to call her the Bayou Barbie. And so I love Angel Reese. And there also is like this other sentiment in the WNBA where there's been a lot of criticism of these older, I shouldn't say older, by more seasoned WNBA players, where they are checking these rookies pretty
Yeah.
pretty hard. We've seen Angel being taken down, we've seen Caitlyn being taken down, and people are saying that like the NBA really needs the WNBA really needs to kind of check that. And I have to say, I have a lot of respect for Angel and Caitlyn, who both have in their like post press conferences been like, it's a part of the game. Like, we playing the game. Like, I don't want to be treated any differently. I want to be treated like a regular player in this league. And also, like, some of them are saying it's kind of like hazing. Now, mind you, I don't follow sports that well, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think from the perspective of the veteran players, I'm sure there's a lot of like, okay, we've been going at this for like 10 plus years or however long. And, you know, there was always a struggle and a battle, I feel like, on their end to get more attention on the sport, to get more, like, get better pay. And now it's kind of a catch-22 where these new players come in and bring all this attention that you've been looking for, but it's their first year and they haven't really, like, earned it like these veteran players have who've been putting in the work for much longer. So obviously, while I don't think that annoyance with the situation should be directed at these rookie players, because ultimately the attention they're bringing is good for the sport, I also see why these older players would be frustrated that all of a sudden, you know, these college kids come in and now it's like, now these are the people that are bringing the eyes to the sport. But at the same time, I agree with what you said about like what, you know, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, like it's part of the game, you know, especially when you're a rookie in any other sport, really. Like, the rookies have to do kind of the bitch work, you know, like in the sense that if you're an NFL rookie, they're going to be the one making you carry the equipment into the locker room. And like, I know in the NBA, a lot of times the rookies have to be the ones to, like, if they're hopping on the team bus, you got to go get us the food and bring us, like, I remember there was a funny story about, I think they were getting like Chick-fil-A or Popeyes or something, and one of the rookies only got like a 4-pack, like a 4-piece biscuit, and everyone was like, there's 20 of us. Like, we were giving them shit for not getting more food. So yeah, it is part of the sport, and I'm sure some of these rookies are probably frustrated that they're not being received by their peers in the league. But, you know, once you do your time and a year or two, I think they'll gain a lot of respect. And then down the line, they're going to become the vets, and they'll be able to be the ones to kind of set the tempo on how these new players are treated.
Yeah. And speaking of that, in the last game that I think Angel and Caitlyn played, Angel got a flagrant foul when Caitlyn was going up to the hoop and Angel was going to block her. And at first they just was a regular foul. Then they upgraded it to a flagrant foul. Now, I watched the tape. And again, I also feel like, and I'm just my opinion, I also feel like the way the media portrays Caitlyn is our princess, and they give Angel the bad guy edit, right? Like, I feel like it's like a lot of different things. And so, and even just watching this play, I don't like, I know the difference between a flagrant foul and a regular foul. Like, I do believe Angel fouled her, but I feel like, and you can maybe help me understand the definition. I feel like a flagrant foul is like you're going out of your way to like assault, to hurt, right? Like, and you've seen the instant replay of this play, correct?
I think it was a flagrant foul.
I don't think it was a flagrant foul.
I think it was a flagrant foul, but I don't think it was like necessarily, like it still is part of the game. Like, it wasn't necessarily intentional, but if you look at the replay, I mean, Caitlin's like up here with the ball, and then
Aiden was jumping up to like, yeah, but like, yeah.
You're right with the definition of flagrant, but in practice, I don't think it doesn't necessarily have to be malicious,
right?
And so it's just kind of like out of control, and
but that's why.
Look, I've played a lot of basketball.
I mean, so have I.
I know, yeah. I've tried to block a lot of shots. I don't think I've ever like accidentally hit someone in the head with my arm like that. So it's now I'm not knocking. I think that's part of the game. Like, so it's part of the game. I think they both handled it really well after the fact. So to me, it's a non-issue. But I do think that it was a flagrant foul. But people get flagrant fouls all the time. Like, it's not like it doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make you a bad.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But I'm just disagree. I don't believe that it was a flagrant foul, but I don't really know that much about basketball. So I'd love for y'all to weigh in the comments and let us know what you think if you've seen that clip. Now, the last thing of this WNBA that I really am dying to talk about is we've touched on the attention of the eyes. We've touched on the bigger arenas. We've touched on the fashions. We've touched on the pay raise. Also, like, again, the pay increase that they have received due to this rookie team. Like, we're loving all of that. But I also feel like we forgetting the mascots. Like, there's one particular mascot, but I also just want to the WNBA has some very fun mascots. There is Sparky from the Los Angeles Sparks. We have Freddie Fever from the Indiana Fevers. We have, now I don't know about this one, Star, little sus, but we have Star from the Atlanta Dreams. But baby, the most colorful, in my sense of the word, revolutionizing what mascots are to teams, I really have to give it to my girl, Ellie, from the New York, now I forget the name of the New York team,
Liberty.
But the New York Liberty, Ellie the Elephant. Do yourself a favor, and if you get time, just look up clips, YouTube, TikTok, or even go to Ellie's official TikTok. Ellie the Elephant gives me life. Like, at this point, I want to go to a Liberty home game to see Ellie. Not only does Ellie have outfit changes, Ellie walks the tunnel with the players. Ellie be having bags. Ellie has a ponytail. Ellie will, when she's walking the tunnel sometimes, Ellie will have a bonnet on her ponytail. Now, I'm not just loving Ellie because did she perform the jump off with Little Kim at one of their halftimes? Yes. Did she do the Little Kim move with her? Yes. But it is the personality that Ellie brings when you watch her shows, and she dances. Ellie gets down. It is
that's fun.
It is, in my opinion, Ellie is a woman of color. Okay, Ellie the Elephant is a woman of color because it just. Have you seen any of these clips? Did you do your research on Ellie, Jack?
I looked up some I saw some of the walk into the games with the fashion, but I haven't seen any of the clips. I haven't seen any of the clips of the dancing or anything.
And she does this one skit, if there's I don't know, if they don't agree with the call, Ellie and her dancers, they'll hold Ellie back, and Ellie will just with the dramatics. And I just love the dramatics, and I just really feel like Ellie the Elephant is really revolutionizing. Again, another nod to the WNBA, right? Where it's you're revolutionizing the mascots to the point where it's of course we have our mascot, the Philadelphia Phillies, or the Philly Fanatic, but it's the persona, the personality that Ellie is giving to it that for me it's at this point I'm waiting for Bravo to make a show of the mascots because I would absolutely watch it. And so if y'all have not seen or you do not know who Ellie the Elephant is, do yourself a favor. Now, for our last topic that Jack and I want to talk to you about, it is my girl Coco Gauff. I love me some Coco Gauff. I think that She is an inspiring tennis player, one of the greats, very young sister. And we learned of her last year when there was a disagreement with her and the umpire. And it was the way that one, Coco knows the game and essentially defended herself to the point that she was right. And so, like, it made national attention. And again, it just kind of all also speaks to just Black women having to advocate for themselves, being told no. And like, so I just love my girl Coco. But Coco, I want to say around like June 6th, she was at the French Open semifinals against, I ain't going to pronounce the young lady name. She ended up losing the match, but there was a set where the young lady served Coco the ball, and when the ball hit the line, the ref on the side that manages the whatever, he immediately called out. And so Coco, it changed Coco's format of, okay, I'm not going to run up and hit the ball like I'm gonna normally hit it. I'm just hit it out. And then they later in the match determined that the ball was not out and that like the point would go to the opponent. And then Coco then goes to the umpire and is like, the ball was clearly out. And the reason why I swung the way I swung is because the ref on the court said out. So that is changing the way that I am going to respond to the ball. Like, I'm not going to. And so the umpire kind of argued back and forth with Coco and essentially like did not overturn the set. Coco was like visibly upset to the point where she had to walk to the side and kind of like cry. Like, we literally see her crying. The crowd started booing. But again, I have to give much respect to Coco because it is for her to be at such a young age, the demeanor in which she is able to kind of hold herself together and then was still able to continue. And it was her opponent serve, and she ended up winning that match. And you play tennis or pickleball, you know how hard that can be of, you know, obviously whoever is serving, they have an advantage. And so she was able to come back and win that match, but she lost that game. But that whole situation is just crazy. Also, it's like, why Coco always got to be up in these umpires' faces, telling them the truth. We could talk about that, but I mean, you know, I feel like how I feel. But it raises this whole situation of this particular situation, and even Coco in her exit interview, it raises the situation of tennis. Why is this so antiquated? Is that the right word?
Of what? Oh, tennis.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. I know what you're saying.
Like, why don't we have instant replays, right? Or monitors, or what they use in the other thing where like it can track where the actual ball hits in tennis. Like, why are we relying on the human eye? And if we weren't relying on the human eye and we had these like instant replays or these like sensors on the field, I forget the actual name of the technology because other places use it. We would be able to see where, like, it wouldn't be a matter of I'm going back and forth with the ref. Us on TV, when we watch the instant replays on TV, we can clearly see that the ball was out, and we're just going on whatever the umpire says goes. I think that's kind of crazy. And it's 2024. Like, where is the instant replay?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. The only concern I guess I would have is that you would if you had it available, you want to use it pretty much every point if you need it, and it could slow down the game a little bit.
But I mean,
but also
if they use it in basketball, they like it.
Well,
isn't there a process like if like don't you only get so many reviews? Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure they would have to put procedures in, but
well, this in basketball, I guess it's a little different because like they'll only review things under like a certain amount of time. Whereas tennis, it's like, you know, it's not time. It's just all points. And every point, in a sense, is like equally as important because, but no, I'm with you. Like, especially given the story you just told of they reviewed it later and then went back and changed it. It's like, well, that's annoying. Like, yeah. And I agree with Coco. It's like, if I had known that it was in, I would have played the point. Like,
right. So, and there's even something. There's even something to like how she swung it or something like, but again, Coco was like the rule, like Coco know the rules. And so she was stating to the rules to the ump, like, I know the game. And that's one thing you can't take away from Coco. But like, it is just kind of crazy. Like, it's 2024. We have the French semi-open. Where the hell is the instant replay?
We're about to have flying cars. It's a replay.
Like, that's kind of crazy to me.
They just got to get like an Apple Vision Pro, and they can see as it live.
Now, again, I do love the fact that they do utilize humans, but every sport does. But like, they utilize the court referees to like determine if it's in or out. But
it's sort of like the same issue with baseball of you still got an ump calling balls and strikes when we know if it's a ball or a strike, but then a lot of times they get it wrong, and it's like,
yeah. But again, I guess that raises even a bigger question where it's like, prior to technology, like this is how sports were played, and so like a part of the umpire and the referee are like, it's at their discretion, right? So it's like, I don't know.
It's frustrating at times, but it also like keeps it real in a way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just an interesting, like, just thought of point. But again, I would love to know people's thoughts on why tennis, and maybe there is another reason that I just don't know about. But I
don't know a ton of tennis myself, but Bryce, I know that that was like the last topic you want to touch on, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, have you been following the NBA Finals?
I have been, and I wanted it to be a sweep, low key. I mean, well, I'm a Jason Tatum fan.
Okay.
And I feel like I am from Boston. I'm from Rhode Island at heart, and so I feel like the Rhode Island team is the Celtics.
From Rhode Island.
I have like friends and family that live in Rhode Island. So back in the day when I was in college, I used to go to Rhode Island maybe like once every 2 months, and so like I used to call myself the Prince of Providence, and so I'm Bruce. Yeah, well, no. I'm the Prince of Providence. Bruce is the
Duke.
The Duke. But so it's interesting because statistically, no team has come back from how down the other team has been. But also, the Celtics have been known to like
fumble the bag. I low key think that like in Game 4, I don't really feel like I feel like they didn't care if they lost because then they could go win at home in front of the home crowd. But I wasn't able to. I didn't catch Game 4, so I think Game 5 tonight. So I'm excited to watch. I'm hoping the Mavs come back. I really just want it to be a good series because right now these playoffs have not been fully giving good. Like last round, both series I think were 5 games. I want a competitive series. So, but Celtics have a great squad, so I'm not surprised that they've been cooking the Mavericks.
And if the Celtics win, I believe they will have beaten the Lakers. If they win this one, I believe they'll beat, or they will have the most NBA wins.
Yeah, I think they already do. Actually,
I think they might be. I think they might be tied at this point.
Okay,
but who?
No.
Yeah. Just the Purple Pants.
I mean, the Celtics just won so many back in like the 50s and the 60s, which was like, I mean, Bill Russell won like 11. So, but we're done with it. We're done with the 1900s. Have you seen that like running joke? Like it's like a TikTok. It'll be like modern highlights versus like old highlights, and it's like. Done with the 90s, like, because everyone debates like, oh, these players in the 90s were so good, and now there's basically this argument like the average NBA player today would be like the best player back then, which I kind of agree with. So.
I absolutely agree. And weren't like the courts weren't smaller, but something was different. Weren't the courts lower, or didn't they have to like they raised the courts for like Larry Bird?
Well, the hoop was never lower. I don't know. Maybe the courts were smaller, or the 3-point line was closer, or something. But I'm not sure. Not that like, still, obviously, respect to the greats of their time. But in this day and age, I'm sure if Larry Bird had today's like modern technology, like in training, he would have ended up being a better player. Like, I mean, not that Larry Bird isn't great, but like bring him into today's game, he would be even better. But now it's like. You put LeBron back. You put LeBron in the Jordan era. He's the best player. You know, maybe
Oh, I
that's a hot
mean,
take.
I've sat in some long car rides debating that.
Now, but interestingly enough, I do think the GOAT discussion and the best player discussion
Are
are
as
different
different.
in a way.
I
So
agree.
I think I could say like Jordan's the GOAT, but I think LeBron's the best basketball player ever.
So let me ask you this, because which is, you know, I don't even want. What is crazy to me is how long has LeBron been in the league?
Like 21 years.
It's just crazy because I remember like when LeBron was drafted. I remember my brothers being like so hyped. Now, mind you, I wasn't able to speak or to walk or to eat whole food at that time. But I remember, you know, being a baby and remembering that. And so it's just so let me pick your brain real quick. So what would you consider LeBron in the league right now? Or just like his legacy in the league right now?
He's like one of the greatest.
Now, can there only be, is it just happenstance? Or like with Michael Jordan's, right? Like during Michael Jordan's era, there only was MJ. Does that define the era, right? Like it only can be one person? Or is there a world where you could have like multiple
I think there's a
LeBrons?
world you could have multiple. I'm thinking back. I mean, I'm even thinking of like Magic and Bird. Like that was an era of, but I don't
And
know.
so now, would you say it's like LeBron and Curry? Like who is
I think when you think about like the 2010s, you think about like LeBron and Curry. I think now we're starting to move into a new, maybe a new era, which is kind of fun. I mean, you have like Luka, you have Anthony Edwards, Giannis, even though Giannis is getting a little bit older, Embiid, Wembanyama. I mean,
you missing a name?
LaMelo Ball.
Thank you. But so I guess that was going to be my next question to you is like who do you predict? But I guess you just named your predictions of who will be the next greatest of the era.
I got to toss up my guy Shea Gilgeous-Alexander too. Yeah, I think right now, coming in this new era, it feels like we're talking Survivor, but I mean Shea, Luka, Anthony Edwards.
But who has the LeBron, like, because I feel like when LeBron got drafted, they were like, he's the next best great thing, and he delivered. Is there anyone that they were like, oh, he's going to be and is delivering?
I think nobody at that level, but okay. I think the closest thing would be Victor Wembanyama, who just finished his rookie season and was fantastic. And I mean, if you look back, like LeBron's rookie season, I know we were both so young, but his stat, I mean, he was great his rookie year, but I think year two was really when he took that step up to the next level. So I could see a Wembanyama like taking the summer to like really come back and be a problem. But in my opinion, also he should have won. He was second in defensive player of the year. I think Wembanyama should have won that. But I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, if you look even a little to the future, this year's rookie class, like about like coming up, not very good on paper. But I think we're gonna have Cooper Flagg in the one after that. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's really, really good. So he could be special for sure.
Okay. So we'll have to keep our eyes out on Cooper Flagg. Well, Jack, this has been great. I hate that there's always such a long hiatus. I think we need to do a better job of delivering the Purple Pants play-by-play more often. And yeah, I'm excited to continue podcasting with you, Jack. Anything before we go?
No, just this Survivor off season. That's the worst hiatus. I love that every season we podcast every week, catching up, chatting. So in the off season, I love little opportunities like this, just fill in the gaps and just chat about sports or whatever. Hopefully, some more Survivor talk in the off season when we get the chance. But yeah, it is so fun.
Yes. Well, all right. This has been your Purple Pants play-by-play. We'll be back soon with some more topics. If there's anything that you see online that you feel like, you know what, I need the baby boys to talk about it, tweet us, DM us, let us know, send us a message, and we got you. We'll be back soon. We're out.
the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.